Hello and welcome to another episode of the Stickmen pod. Thank you for joining me, Rene.
Hey man, good to be back.
Yeah, so I thought we'd do a very quick update here. I had a conversation with a friend of mine. I won't name her just in case she doesn't want to be outed like that. But she gave me some feedback on a few of the other podcasts that I thought was very interesting. That she basically said that, I mean, a lot of people said maybe we should cut the episodes a bit shorter. We had already done that, dropping them to like an hour or under an hour. But she kind of said that if we'd like to talk about the topics, the long and short of it is I'm going to basically experiment with picking a topic that I would like to discuss each week to release in like a 30-minute sort of segment, and then doing another episode that we release on a second day at about 30 minutes again of me and you talking more, just like telling some stories, chatting some shit basically, and just kind of having a few beers kind of thing. So this episode coming out will be obviously the more
Like
sort of
this one.
exactly, yeah. So obviously we can still have beers on this, but just in case we just want to do a random Tuesday recording or whatever and stuff and all that sort of good things. So
Yeah.
so cool. So just sort of start off. Obviously the last few episodes I've been talking quite a lot about like things I'm going through in terms of like that I'm really working hard on, like sort of lifestyle changes, and we've done an episode about good habits and obviously bad habits and things like that. And I know some people might be sick and tired of it, but I have got quite a lot of positive feedback from people saying that they enjoy hearing about that kind of stuff. And I thought I was in the gym today for like my last session of the week, I guess, sort of thing. And I had like a really heavy day yesterday. I don't know if you saw like my Instagram and stuff, but I did like
Yeah.
I I don't know why I just decided I'm going to do like a 4K run, and I fucking cannot really spend long enough. This podcast is too short for me to say exactly how much I hate running. So it's like 4K run, 1K swim. It ended up being more like 3 kilometers of walking, maybe more. But I only recorded sort of 2K of it on the sort of exercise. I did a strength training like in the gym as well. So it ended up being like a very heavy day. And I just thought, it's funny. It's like I'm obviously very motivated now to do these kind of things, and it makes me sort of reflect at times that if you've known me for a long time, Rene, like if you think to me like 3 months ago, like I wasn't even going to the gym.
Mm.
I just didn't move at all, right? And it starts to make
Yeah.
me sort of think about the motivation. Obviously, motivations can be like breakups, for example, are a very classic motivation, right? And there are other ways to motivate yourself, which are what I'm reading into recently, because obviously it's not sustainable to use like, I don't really like the phrase negative energy, but negative things, right, are not a good thing to. They're not sustainable, right? Well, hopefully not. Like you hope to not go for a breakup every, like for if every 2 months or
Yeah,
so.
because it's just moments, right? That
Yeah,
will last for a while, and that's that. Then fade out.
exactly. So you kind of you need to find a way. Like let's say you lose your job, right? And let's say that encourages you, that gives you the motivation to go and learn a new skill. Like let's say you've always wanted to be like a carpenter, for example, right? And let's say you lose your job as a computer programmer, and you go, you know what, fuck it, this is my time. I'm gonna
Nah,
go.
that's that bit.
Well, I can see a
Call it quit
dartboard behind you,
at this
Rene. I
point.
think without going too far off tangent already, have you changed the angle of your camera and desk?
Well, my camera is not set up all the time, like so. I just do what looks good at
That
the
looks really good,
moment.
but you're a different perspective, no?
Uh, Maybe
Normally the
could be.
dartboard's like me looking at you over your left shoulder, that way.
I probably just flipped the image. This is the real thing.
Show business, man. It gets you every
Is
time.
it? Maybe. I don't know.
It's
I
like
think now it's
one.
flipped.
Anyway, so basically, yeah. So I've been banging on about my mindset coach and my performance coach and stuff like for a while now. But I spoke a few podcasts ago about how he was a bit concerned when he asked me like what was the main kind of um, motivation behind me spamming the gym and getting in shape and losing weight, all this stuff, right? And I said, firstly, I was in fucking terrible shape. Secondly, I came out of a relationship, and when you have a for better or worse, whatever you want to call it, when you have a heartbreak, right? You you just want to better yourself, right, in every way possible. Like, not because of revenge or not because of like anger, but just because it's a wake up call, right? It's like, it's in the same way as I said, if you get fired from your job, a lot of people decide to go and find themselves traveling or start a completely different career and that kind of thing, right? So
It's a bit of like what happened now during Corona, right? That a bunch of like servers and people that were into those kind of service jobs get laid off, and then when things came back, now we have a shortage, right? I
yeah,
think it's
yeah,
like most people were like, okay, maybe now it's the time to do what I want.
yeah, absolutely, right? So yeah, exactly. So the thing is, I guess the important part there is kind of I sort of argued with him that, like, even though that was like the spark behind, you know, my, like, my drive, if you will, um, I'm past that now, and like I'm still hammering the gym, right? So it's kind of like, it was like it was a really good catalyst to like push me to improve my life. But my life was like, let's not really mince words about it. My life was in the fucking bin, and I needed to change it. And I knew I needed to change it when I was in the relationship and stuff. But it just kind of, you're just in a rut, you're depressed, whatever it might be. When you get like an opportunity in this regard, it's just a good chance to just completely change your life and go, you know what? Let's have a big like audit of my life in general, like my diet, my sleep, my alcohol consumption, my career, my fitness, like everything, you know, my relationships, all of it, right? And that's kind of a thing that we all should do more often, right? In terms of, you should do this before the fuck up, really, or the, you know, the kind of, you know, same.
Like ideally you should, but don't you think that, because for example, very often, well, I've heard the phrase "people don't change," right? And I partially agree. I don't think people change just like because they like one day to the other, right? But you have to be willing to change, and most of the time, I think you need something big to happen. You
Yeah,
need some spark that kind of like fires that. Okay, now it's the time. I really need to, and get you really committed to do stuff. Because otherwise, it's very hard. Usually, I mean, I'm sure there's people who are more disciplined and they can just go and do whatever. But I think for these kind of big things that are big life changes, you need that spark,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
you need, or continuing it's a different thing, but you need something that will. Okay, now is the time.
yeah, for sure agree. And like, and I obviously did. And I think like some people, I think at least what I'm trying to achieve is to be in a position, you know, for going forward, that I am able to reflect on my life generally, like most of the time, and kind of recognize where the areas of my life are lacking. Because like, you can be really motivated right now and stuff, but there will be a time where I'll get comfortable, right? You'll end up, you know, it could be 6 months from now, it could be 10 years from now. Like, everybody gets comfortable. Everybody, if listening, is in a relationship, or, you know, however they're in their normal life and they're generally happy, there are aspects of their life they could improve massively, right? And we all could. But there is no kind of push. And that's normally in the case of like, the classic is, you're in a relationship, you've been together 3 or 4 years, you both put on some weight, you know, because you love each other. You know, you're not really trying, you don't really need to impress each other so much anymore, because you know, no one's going anywhere over 5 kilos or whatever, right? So it's kind of that kind of thing. But yeah, I think I want to sort of get a bit more into the sort of topic here, which was like, so the main thing is like the topic was sort of getting in shape, lifestyle changes, and a thing called habit stacking. And obviously we've tried to keep this to 30 minutes. So just to briefly explain what habit stacking is when you're trying to sort of like improve your lifestyle in some way. So for example, let's say you want to eat healthier, and let's say you want to spend less time on social media, and let's say your third of one is you want to start taking cold showers. Now, like, if you try and add too many habits, like daily habits, this, by the way, is from the book called Atomic Habits, which I've mentioned tons of times. Genuinely, it's like the number one book I'd ever recommend, and it has changed my life. It's a very good book, and I highly recommend it. Basically, stacking habits is a thing where, in order to sort of make sure you don't skip improving your life in that regard, you try and link them. So, for example, if your ones was not doing social media, having cold showers, and I think I said eating healthier, maybe, like, what you would do is you'd wake up in the morning, set your alarm. The alarm would say, get out of bed, take a shower. You get out of bed, you take your cold shower, After that, you would have the reminder to go. Now you go to the fridge and you eat. I mean, for lack of a better thing, let's say like a carrot, right? If that's your goal, right? And then your last one would be no social media until lunchtime, and you would just get at your work, start doing work, and then when your lunch break goes, now you can go on social media, and you've instantly like cut out the 20 minutes you might spend in bed scrolling Facebook or scrolling Instagram and things like that. So that's the kind of thing of like stacking those habits. And to give an example of like how we all do that subconsciously in a negative way, it's like when a negative habit is so available. For example, you must know loads of people that like socially smoke.
Yeah.
So they're like, they don't smoke, but when they're drinking, they smoke. And it's one of those things where it's a really bad habit that's like a stacked habit. They wouldn't smoke a cigarette if they were going out for a walk with their friends or going bowling or whatever. But as soon as they go, someone goes, we want to come down the pub, and it's a Wednesday night, suddenly they go down and they now start smoking a cigarette. So it's that kind of thing.
Yeah, and you get it. It's like this kind of conditioning, right? That
Yeah.
suddenly you don't even think about it. It's just a thing you do.
Yeah. And I was like really guilty of that. Like when I was like just not doing particularly well and stuff, I was eating like Burger King lots of days, right? And it'd be one of these things where a bad habit of laziness, of just sort of not ordering groceries the day before or whatever sort of thing, would compound into the next day. It was like the habit stack for me would be, I would wake up without an alarm, lay in bed till 10, 11 p.m., get out of bed, go and after checking social media and stuff, and go to my computer, maybe play some video games, which is a bad habit because I should be doing work. And then it gets to like midday, 1 o'clock, and I'm hungry and there's no food in the house. So I've got the easiest thing to do is just pick up my phone and order a Burger King. And there's like just like a compilation of like bad habits, right? It's just like if I fix the first one by just setting an alarm and getting out of bed at 9 a.m. and forcing myself to go for a walk, I probably, when I'm out on that walk, would go, oh, you know what, I should pick up some groceries and maybe cook some chicken at home. Then when I come home, I could be like, right, you know what, I've just had some lunch. After lunch, let's go and study some poker, or let's go do some sports betting or whatever it might be. So it's kind of, that's the kind of thing that's one really easy way that I should have done back then. But because people are, like you say, creatures of habit, and we just kind of, we condition ourselves to just do bad things in that regard, right? Because, or not even, that's not even fair. We don't condition ourselves to do bad things. We condition ourselves to do the things that are easiest and most available. So it's like,
Yes.
like to the same friend actually that sort of gave me the feedback on the podcast. And I should sort of mention, she sort of works in marketing, and she has like promoted and sort of worked on a podcast in the past, which is why it's really nice to have her feedback. She mentioned like one thing that she does is like when she starts her work day, she puts an apple, a carrot, and let's say a bottle of water next to her laptop. So basically, when she starts to get hungry, like the carrot's there, right? So she just eats the carrots and maybe some cucumbers, whatever she has, and then she'll eat the apple and then drink the water, right? Because it's sort of like when you make it readily available, like she's not going to go to the fridge or the cupboard and get like a cupcake when there's the food right there that she's put there, because you feel like an idiot, right? You're like, I've planned for this. I'm now like breaking my own rules to go and get the junk food, right?
And I think those tiny things is just like setting yourself up for like success kind of thing, right? Because I do the same. If I don't have water or anything here, I will barely drink water through the day, right? So I have this like, I think you do the same, that you have this like 2 liter thing.
Yeah.
So I fill it in the morning, bam, and that's that, right? At the end of the day, it will be like empty, and instead of like, oh, I'm maybe thirsty, let's go and see if there's a soda or something in the fridge. You just drink water through the day and kind of like kill one less bad thing.
100%, and that's a really good point, because it's like if you tell yourself I want to drink 2 liters of water a day, you're almost never going to do that if the way to that goal is, okay, go to the fridge, pour a 500 milliliter glass of water, come back, and you got to do that 4 times a day. But having
I like personally, I won't be fucked
Yeah.
to go with a tiny glass and go 100 times. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah. You'd have to like set an alarm on your phone that says get up now and go and get water. But what if you're in the middle of a call or whatever, you're just not going to do it. But having that 2 liter bottle on your desk, and every time you get a bit thirsty, you go, oh, I'll take a sip. Yeah, 100%. So that's a really good point there. To move on to like where I've sort of noticed, this sounds like, when you start noticing yourself, you're being a bit maybe critical of other people. But basically, since I've been going to the gym like so often recently, I've been getting so pissed off basically with people, and it's just kind of like
bro,
like
bro.
like
I go to a very commercial gym. I used to go. I think I said it last episode. I used to go to one that everyone was like bodybuilders and massive people, right? And
yeah.
fitness girls, and everyone was really polite and really kind of like no one was. People knew how to behave. And now I go to this like very commercial, cheap gym, and fuck me, man. People just are different, right?
Yeah.
Is the you see those people like sitting on a machine, right? I sit on a machine, do my thing, quite like try to do it as quick as possible, within reason, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, bam, you finish, I do my reps, put a 1.5 minute, 1 minute, depending on what I'm doing. Bam, putting on my phone, 1 minute, bam, straight back to it, right? And
Yep.
that's that. And I walk around that minute, and that's that. And then you see people who go use the machine, right? They use it, they sit there, take their phone out,
That's the worst. Yeah. Yeah.
5 minutes, and you're like, dude, if you're not using the machine, get the fuck out of here. Like, what are you doing?
I had
And then
two.
if you go ask
Sorry.
like, "Oh, are you ready?" They get offended. Like, no. It's like, then what the fuck are you doing?
So I had two instances this week. One of them was today. Like, the first one was yesterday. I think it was yesterday I did chest, and I could put it on my Instagram and stuff. That when I said doing a chest workout to like prepare me for my swim and the run, because I obviously hate the run, right? But I enjoy chest day generally, right? And either way, it's whatever. And there's like one machine, it's like a horizontal press. I do like incline bench, I do sometimes flat bench, it depends on the day, but I won't go into it to bore people. But on this particular day, I really wanted to do this horizontal press, right? Sorry, vertical press. So I'll be like sat upright, right? So it is actually technically horizontal the way you're pressing. And this girl, like just as I'm about to get there, she sits down. I'm like, okay, it's not a problem. I'll hit the next things I've got, right? So I see when she sits down, and she sits down and she does a set of, I didn't count her reps, but let's just say she does like 8 reps, and she pulls her phone out and she's on it for like 5 minutes, like before, like to the point where like you feel like she was quite attractive. She was very attractive, to be honest. Like to be absolutely honest, she was insanely hot, but she was to the point where I'm looking over, almost like thinking she thinks I'm looking at her because she's hot, but I'm actually thinking, when the fuck are you getting off this machine? And it's and I went around the other machine around the back and stuff, and I see that, and she's on like, I don't know if it's Snapchat or something, but she's like sending like video notes or whatever. She's sending video messages to people to whatever and stuff. And I just thought like,
it doesn't. The training doesn't count if you don't take a picture.
yeah, and that's it. And I just thought like, I don't understand where there's obviously this huge wave of people that. And I understand a little bit. I totally don't. I understand if some people want to take pictures of themselves in the mirror, social, that sort of stuff, and fine.
Oh yeah, but that's fine because you're not on the middle of the way.
Yeah, that's
Like
it.
you're not hugging a machine.
And that was it. And then it went on a bit longer, to the point where I thought, I want to use the machine at some point. So and it's been like, at this point, maybe like 10 minutes, and I'm just like, I went over and went, excuse me, and she pulled a headphone out. It's like, hey, sorry, but how many sets do you have left? She was like, oh, just two. And I thought, I said, okay, fine, no problem, sort of thing. And I thought, so you're going to spend, so that you've been like 10 or maybe even 15 minutes. So that means if she's done 4 sets, that's 30 minutes for one machine. Like, how long are you in the fucking gym? Like, it just seems like, for yourself, it's so suboptimal, right? To spend that long fucking around, right? And you're just kind of like, and I'm the same as you. It's kind of, like, I wanted to point out that, let's say you're doing squats.
The thing is that my workout, just with that 1 minute in between, is almost 2 hours.
Wow, okay, that is long.
If I would take my time and stuff, I'll be there for 6 hours. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, so my workouts in the gym are between 30 and 45 minutes, depending on the day and stuff. But yeah, I have like a 1 minute rest period, and I do 4 sets of 8 sort of thing, right? And obviously there's movement between machines and setting up things and things like that. But
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, I don't have that many exercises, but putting the weight in, like out and this and that. Like at the end, it's like about 2 hours.
yeah. And it's like, yeah. To me, it's kind of, yeah. I don't know. It's just I was gonna say, if you're doing, let's say you're doing strength training, and so you're doing, let's say you're doing squats, or you're doing like you're trying to improve your 1 rep max on the bench. So strength training will be traditionally somewhere between 2 and 5 reps, right? Without getting into too much detail. But your rest periods in strength training are insanely high because you're lifting such heavy weights, right? You can't do 1 minute rest periods because your muscles are fucked from the previous one, right? Or fatigued would be a better word, but either way. So yeah,
But what's the most, like 5 minutes?
yeah,
Realistically, for someone who's just going to the gym from time to time, like, or like three
And
times a
this is
week
for
or
like
whatever.
this is for like the people that
five
are
minutes.
really high end, right? So like you
Oh,
see some dude go up to a squat rack, throw like the world on the bar. You're like, okay, this guy's gonna be there for half an hour. That's fine, no problem, right? But when you're on like a machine, it's just like you should be on it for like between 5 and 8 minutes tops, in my opinion, right? It's just you just shouldn't
yeah.
be on there for that long. So that kind of bothered me. And I had the same thing today. I was doing back and arms, and this is where my second like pet peeve kind of thing is, where like guys that wear like gym gloves in the gym, they're just I've never met one that is like actually working hard. Do you know what I mean? So like this guy today, he sat there on the machine I need again. He does one set. I shit you not, this is not exaggerating. He did one set and he sat on the machine for 10 minutes talking to his friend who was on another machine. And the friend was working his ass off. The friend had gone to like 2 or 3 machines around him, doing like, while the guy's just like sat there, like, and it's just so cringe. It's just like you turn up, you've bought, like, you're wearing gym gloves on a padded handled machine. It's like, so that doesn't make sense. I mean, gym gloves are a joke anyway, but it makes no sense. And you're just like, you're spending way more time talking than working out. And it just kind of, yeah. So that's kind of the rant there, where it just sort of, I'm getting, I've decided if I ever owned a gym, it's going to like have something on the wall that just says, get in, do work, fuck off. Like just literally on the wall, basically, because it's kind of, it's just amazing to me the amount of people that just come in and just talk, but and it's just fucking insane, because it's like I enjoy working out in the sense of I enjoy doing like the weights and stuff, right? But the rest period is just sort of like you just sit there, you listen to music, maybe you replying to a few texts from friends and stuff. But you just
For me, it's a bit awkward, mate. But I have a bit of this like social awkwardness. Like I don't very often know how to, or I feel a bit like awkward, and because I look very different, right? Like people can tell I'm not from here right away. And when you go to the gym, a bunch of people like working out. Those gyms are very often like mostly female or like a lot of female, and then I just feel awkward, dude. Because like I'm a big guy, people are already kind of like awkward when I'm like around, and for me that's a very awkward moment where I'm like, wherever you turn, there's someone. So it's like I'll just look at the floor, fucking hell, man. Look at my phone, kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean?
it's so
Like,
right.
because you can tell people are awkward around you. Like when I walk on the street, if it's dark, if you're walking behind a girl or something, or you can see them change sidewalk or like start running basically or whatever. It's like it's not my fault, like I look like this. So it's
Yeah, I
like
know.
when you're in those situations, it's like I'll just look at the floor maybe for a minute and a half and
I know
mind
exactly
my
what you
own
mean.
business.
I was on the same machine that I had the like kind of the problem with the hot girl that I wanted to get on, the chest press machine. It's right in front of this like stretching area that has like mirrors on, and like it's horrible because it's like it's a magnet for hot girls, right? Because they go there and they stretch, right? Which is nothing wrong with that, and it's absolutely fine. But you're just sat right behind them, right? Like, and it's just hot, and it's the same thing.
Yeah, they
And
turn around and look at you like you're a pervert, and you're like, "Kid, I'm just like, where should I look?"
because you've got your headphones on, you want to look at yourself in the mirror while you're doing it, right? Because we're all fucking vain, and you want, I don't know, either way, right? And but there would be some girl doing positions that I wouldn't be able to do in a million years, and just in the tightest pants you've ever seen, stretching, and I'm like, you just kind of like you can't,
Yeah, I can't look anywhere else. I'm like,
and then you look that way,
it's
and it's
rough.
like, yeah, it's tough. It is tough because especially these days, it's one of those things where there's so many of these things where you see people going like, oh, why are you looking at all the TikToks and stuff, or what reels and stuff where
Yeah,
someone's saying people are looking at me. So every nice man like me and you is petrified now of just like, just don't, where do I look, sort of thing, kind of thing. Yeah. So it's on that note of when you say the awkwardness, I want to talk a bit about the like getting over the fear of running in public, but also of working out, right? So because I obviously ran this 5K. I mentioned a few podcasts or an episode or so ago that a friend and I had a bet that I couldn't run a 5K in under 40 minutes without stopping. That was his stipulations of the bet, is that I'm not allowed to stop once and I have to run it in under 40 minutes. And I've never done I've not ran 200 meters in the last, fuck knows, long time, right? So not a runner at all. And I haven't done any training. I mean, I had done some swimming and some gyms, and I've lost some weight. So there's that is obviously training, but no running training. And I did, like I said to you, I did the treadmill, and I did it in like 35, 40. And he said that didn't count. So we made this sort of agreement that, and I should put for some background. This guy's like does triathlons, runs marathons, does half marathons, Ironman, all that kind of stuff, right? So he does know his shit. But
One of those guys.
yeah, one of those guys indeed, right? So he came out this week, and he said, "Let's do the. Why don't you?" He's like, "Let's go in the street, basically." And
To be fair, he weighs 1/3 of what you weigh, right? I mean,
yeah, true. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Maybe
I guess.
half now. I've lost a bit, but yeah. But he said, so we're going. He's like, we're doing the street, and I said, dude, I had this huge like anxiety of like, I don't want to be seen running. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not a runner, man. It's like I don't look good when I run. You know, it's not. I feel like I just look like this fat fucking dude, fucking struggling down the road, right? And but we had the bet. He dragged me out, and we got it done. But it was just like and don't get me wrong, man. The buzz I got after I finished it was like, it was almost like, it's so sad. I've achieved many things in life, you know, many times. I've won poker tournaments for lots of money, all this sort of stuff. This felt way better. Like winning the main event in Tallinn felt less good than running this 5K.
But mate, because I can relate to that, where I've done many things in life. And a lot of the things that people think are impressive, or like just whatever I've done, right? Like things I was doing in university, the jobs I've gotten, and these kind of thing, living now in Finland with the good job and stuff. When I talk to people back home, it's like, oh, it's so fucking impressive, man. It was like really cool. Like, how the fuck did you do it? And all those things in my mind have been so easy. For me, it's just like, it just happens. I do something, I want these, like, bam. But running, ugh. I remember the first time I went and run 5K without stopping or something like that. It's like, man, it beats everything else I've done. Yeah. And this is the stupid thing, you know? Yeah. Like, but the feeling is just like way better.
It's such a big achievement for me, but in my mind, but it's such a weird feeling where I'm in no rush to do it again. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like I
fucking hate running, mate. There's no.
The best thing was we're running, so we're doing, the plan is, and shout out to Liam, to be fair, because we had the bet against each other, but he helped me out. Like, he was like, look, you tell me what pace you want to go at, and I'll make sure we keep at that pace and all this kind of stuff, and I'll let you know where we're at and how long we got, so you haven't got to look at your watch and all this stuff. Okay, so I'm just fucking jogging away. We've agreed we're going to go at 7 minutes per kilometer, right? I think 7.5, something like that, right? So we start running. I say running, I feel like we're going very, very slow. And and he's like,
oh, but the first time I did this with, like, because I used to run quite quick and get fucked right away. And the first time I did, like, I went for a run with Petra. She was like, no, you do it slow. And I was like, how the fuck are you running this slow? Like, there's no way. Because also I have like long legs and shit.
Yeah.
But then it was like, it immediately makes sense of like, oh, so this is why I cannot run.
This is you exactly have to go slow. So we're going to do a 7 minute K, whatever. We start running. He's like, okay, we're at 6 minute kilometers, Luke. I'm like, first, 300 meters, whatever. I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah. So I need to slow it down. He's like, yeah. I was like, okay. So slow it down. He's like, Luke, you're still at 6 minute kilometers. I'm like, I'm going so fucking slow. What are you on? This is like, I can't go. If I go any slower, I'm walking. And he's just like, no, you need to slow it down. So I slow it, and then 1K in, I'm like, oh fuck. Okay, now I see I have to slow it down. And we slow it down. And the worst thing was that there was like, we've decided we're going to do 2.5K that way and 2.5K back. And there's this apartment building that is just fucking like miles away. I'm like fucking horrendously far away. And I was like, in my head, I'm hating life as I'm moving anyway. I'm like, it's fine. There's no way we're not going that far. And he's like, yeah, when we get to this boat, we've got such and such to whatever. I'm just not really listening to him. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm just trying to survive, right? And then suddenly, like, forever later, I see the apartment building like behind it. We've gone past it, and I'm just like, oh my god, fuck my life, right? And then it's like we decided to do 3K and turn around. We turn around, and I remember him be like, see, man, it's really good. You've done over half. Like, we've only got 2K left, or whatever. I'm like, yeah, fine. We're jogging. We're going for whatever. Get down to like 1K. He's like, just past that bridge, and we're finished. And this bridge is just like forever away, to the point where I feel like we've been running for like another 10 minutes, and it hasn't got any closer. And I'm just like, oh God, this is awkward. So I'm just like looking at things like there's a little boat. I'm like, okay, I've got that boat. And then, you know, when he's like, okay, there's like, I don't know, 600 meters. And I'm just dead. I'm like, okay, 600 meters, fine. He's like, yep, only 570 meters. There's no way I've only done 30 meters in that. You know, it was one of those where it was just absolute nightmare. But it did kind of like massively clear that like, whenever I was in Finland, I remember I wanted to do the couch to 5K training, and I didn't do it partly, and this is sad to admit, but because I didn't want to be seen in front of people. Do you know what I mean? Like just running, walking. And it's like, but as soon as and it's the same, I think that's the same thing, the kind of sort of almost the close on. It's like, when most people don't go to the gym, like people, especially people that are out of shape, right? When you put on too much weight and you're fat, or whatever, and you know you don't look good. You don't want to go in the gym. But like I feel it more for females, to be honest, because I imagine if you're an overweight female, you don't want to fucking go in the gym and be surrounded by these girls taking pictures of themselves.
But also as guys, I think a lot of guys do this. I've heard these from a lot of guys as well. And through this, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
At least most people won't give a fuck. There's always some idiot, right? But like, that's life.
That's it.
Usually, most people won't give a fuck. Actually, because when I'm in the gym, I'm a big guy, but I've always done sports and shit, right? Like even though I've been out of shape like a few times, just now I'm not in the best shape I've ever been, but I've always been doing sports, right? So I'm not completely out of shape. And personally, when I see someone that comes in massively overweight or out of shape or whatever, and they're just walking on the treadmill, it's like, man, good for this guy.
100%, yeah.
You know, like. You don't be like, oh, what the fuck is this guy doing or anything.
And, yeah,
like,
I totally agree, and I think that is the reality of it. But I was just sort of thinking that, yeah, I understand why if you were an overweight person, particularly a woman, where all you're surrounded by is Instagram and seeing this woman looks like this in a bikini, and that woman, it's tough. It must be tough, right? Because you don't want to get in the gym because you don't want to be seen to be fat and slow and unfit, right? And the problem is it's a slippery slope, because then you're not going to do anything about it, and you're never going to improve your life.
It's worse.
And that's exactly where I was, right? It's like, I don't want to be in the gym because you don't want to be weak, and I don't want to go out and run because I can't run, and I don't want to go to the pool because I think I'm fat. All these things, right? Everyone has these insecurities, and I guess what I want to sort of end this sort of episode talking about this kind of stuff is that the main thing, like running this 5K, I had this huge anxiety of, I can't run the 5K because everyone in the street's going to look at me and go, look at this fucking fat guy that can't run. And no one fucking, as you said, if anything, people are like, good on this guy kind of thing.
Funny story, because I had the exact same thing. So I would wake up 5, 6 a.m., go for a run in the middle of the forest. And there's no one, mate. And that's that. Exactly, and then eventually I stopped giving a fuck because I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. But, but like, you know what I mean? Like, exactly the first few runs were like that.
Exactly. And like yesterday, I ran, it was 4K, but it was Liam was trying to tell me to try and lower my heart rate for the run to get some more fat burning done, basically. Long and short of it is do 4K in 300 meter, 100 meter splits. So 300 meter jogging, 100 meter walking. So you do 3K run, 1K walk at the end of the day. And basically I did it in, it was 5:30 / 6 p.m. Budapest time, straight down the fucking Danube River. There was tourists everywhere taking pictures of themselves in front of the buildings, and I'm just like sweating and jogging through them like a fucking idiot. But it's just like, yeah. So all I'd say is,
people.
Yeah, but it's just like, as soon as you crack that kind of like, as soon as you break the ice and you get yourself in the gym, get yourself out there, and you soon realize that no one's looking at you, and if they are, fuck them, basically, right? So it's just kind of...
It also gives you, like, going to the gym gives you this, I guess it's sports in general, because you get that from sports, but this odd confidence. It's like a massive confidence boost where you're just like, yeah, fuck this, man, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
like,
exactly, yeah. You start to feel so good. You start to feel so good.
Yeah, and I think you feel so good. Very often, people will not notice a change at all. And you look at yourself in the mirror, you're feeling like fucking Iron Man, right? And you're Superman, and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah. And just that confidence boost, like, is enough to keep you going, kind of thing.
That was me when Liam was here. Poor Liam, like, I was just stood in front of my mirror with my shirt off, kept going, look at my fucking abs, look at my abs, and he was just laughing because, like, I've obviously not got the best abs, but yeah, it was a good weekend, and we'll talk about that on our spin-off of the channel, which we'll do obviously an episode now. We'll talk more about more casual things, but. Thank you very much, Rene. I think this is a good spot to wrap up trying to keep these ones short. I think there's a lot of good stuff we talked about there. And for everyone who watched, thank you very much. Let us know if you have any like things that you hate about the people in the gym, like, you know, guys who wear workout gloves, or girls who are on their phone, or guys on their phone, obviously people on their phone. And
Or if you have any of these small habits you do,
yes,
like that would be interesting to see what people do.
yeah, let us know anything that you've basically like solved in your life where you're like, I hated doing this and I've done this. Or you can even say, I hate that I do this, and just let us know something you want to try and stop, and we'll try and problem solve it with you, because I'm really into that recently, and honestly I think it's really beneficial. So thank you everyone who watched, and like, comment, subscribe and all that stuff, and we'll see you guys next one. Thank you.